right, listen up. You want to know why I'm rocking barbell apparel? Simple. It's built for athletes like you and me. Have you ever tried squeezing into those regular clothes? It's not happening, right? Barbell has got that perfect fit for guys who actually hit the gym. It's comfortable, it's stylish, and it shows off the work that you put in. Whether I'm training or I'm heading out, Barbell is always on point. Now here's the kicker. Barbell's annual hoodie sale is on. Spend over $99 and they will throw in a free athletic fit performance hoodie. Yeah, you heard me. Free. We're talking 7 brand new hoodie designs. You can stack these deals too. Spend more, get more hoodies. You want 1, you want 5? Go for it. But here's the thing. These designs sell out every single year. So if you wait, you will miss out. Limited time, limited stock. So stop wasting time and go hit up Barbell Apparel. Get your gear. Get your free hoodie and look like a champ. Barbell Apparel. Built for athletes, built for you. Go to barbellapparel.com or just click on the link below. Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. Why are you guys on that? Teach me something here. Why in the hell would you possibly be on that fight? Like, I read this headline about it. I go down the little comment section. See what their engagement is. See what the fans like. This is the most comments. This is the most engagement. Why would you be on that fight? What about that fight seems interesting to you? Like, if you had a magic wand, or this was your company, or you were counting on profits, or you were trying to build a division, if you were doing anything remotely intelligent, why is that fight interesting to you? Does it have a personal grudge? Is there anything nationalistic about it? Do you hear often about a guy that spends half his time in Dagestan, a quarter of his time in Abu Dhabi, a training camp in San Jose, having a beef with a dude from Spain? What are you talking about? And from a competitive standpoint, how the hell did you get there? I'm only asking the question because I don't know if anything has been discussed so quickly on the heels of a victory that was so ridiculous. I mean, generally within the sport, we would operate within the confines of the sport. You would use history as your trajectory to the future. You would fully understand that before you're going to have a champion versus champion, you're going to have 2 guys that have absolutely cleaned out a division. Do you feel that we're there? Because Islam has opponent, it's a Carrion, and Ilia, I believe, has agreed to a rematch with Volk for who knows what reason. I guess there was a promise made somewhere, so it's I can't even make sense of that. And he's got obvious business with Diego Lopes, and I'm just wondering how you got him up a weight class that he already left against a champion who nobody else has beat. Like, there was once a day when Topuria was a 155-pounder. It was his debut. You didn't know his name. You didn't know his name any better than I knew his name. You didn't know his name even when he became Mr. Hand Sanitizer. And now you get a couple of wins. You've got a very clear number 1 contender who, by the way, was a backup fighter and is sitting right there. And I'm not coming down on Topuria. I'm just speaking to the idea of not following the history of the sport. Like, whenever we're trying to make a fight or we're trying to predict what fight's going to happen, there's a part of us that's going to come out and say the fight that we want to happen, but there's a larger voice within us that is going to do nothing more than parrot what we predict Dana's going to say, right? So, what part of you would possibly believe that Dana is going to move his 45-pound star to take on his 55-pound star, bump 2 very meaningful contenders, and act like that's not a really weird thing to do because it's got nothing nationalistic, it's got no personal grudge, and it doesn't even make sense competitively? And before you think I'm grinding on you, I'm grinding on the entire situation, and the whole thing started, by the way, it wasn't even a headline where some fans were trying to get this fight together and start to talk about it and predict it. It came from seeing Diego Lopes call for an interim title fight against Alexander Volkanovski. I share that because we just went through this with Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman called for a fight against Rakhmonov. But Kamaru had missed the news cycle where the people that bring you the news were pushing for him to have a title fight against Belal Muhammad. We cannot get him a title fight when he is calling for a different fight. It can't be done. It's never been done. Never been done. And the closest we got, we ended up with a Sandhagen. The closest we got where we're going to pull the old Montreal screw job and we're going to do it right here on live TV, Sandhagen gives it to the other guy because he didn't follow the news. So Diego Lopes, who's a total stud, by the way, he's the guy I'm pushing for. Diego Lopes, without question, should be fighting Ilia Topuria, without question. Not only because he's coming off a whole bunch of wins, and he's getting beat out by a guy who calls himself an old man who needs a cane. I mean, Volk or Chandler, one of those guys is my favorite fighter, so I'm really not giving Volk too hard of a time. I'm just sharing with you. You can't look at this and get it any other way. I think Volk lost his last 3 fights, 2 of them by stoppage. I think that. But somebody else told me that he popped down to 45 and I misremembered it. And that he's actually won in his last 4. Now, he's great. Don't think I don't understand the other side of this coin. I'm saying you're juxtaposing that in a business that is, what have you done for me lately, against a guy who has not lost that I can recall. And by the way, saved an event by fighting 2 weight classes above what he was contractually signed to do 48 hours earlier. This is bad business by me. To come out with a passion and a plea that is against what's going to happen just sets you up to look for failure. There is no Diego Lopes in this. It is Volkanovski. They've already done the face-off. It's already been agreed and announced. But in an industry where Volkanovski's agreement and announcement is on a lot less steady ground than Sean Strickland's agreement and announcement, which is getting attacked from all sides, I think that it's very fair to bring up. Now, if you wanted to make a push for Lopes, which clearly would have been the right decision, right? And that's not to say that Volk's next fight isn't for a title. All Volk has ever told us that he's been promised that his next fight is for a title. He's then been asked, well, is that going to be soon? Is that going to be later? Are you out for a while? Is that going to be a year? Is that going to be 2 years? They literally asked him this, and Volk literally addressed it and said, yeah, it might be, but whenever I return, it's going to be for a title. Okay, great. That can be true. That promise, those words that were spoken that never should have been spoken, can still be true. It's just not next. Now, where I'm going to lose that isn't just because they faced off. It's because Diego Lopes, in his uninfinite wisdom, decided, and that, by the way, that was meant to be an insult. I'm not calling him wise, I'm calling him stupid. Infinite wisdom is supposed to be like a double redundant. He's an idiot who called for an interim title fight because he heard Ilia Topuria say that Ilia would like to take some time off. Okay, let me just stop you right there. If you have a healthy champion who doesn't defend, we don't do an interim title. We strip the son of a bitch. Not some of the time or part of the time, 100% of the time, an interim title is specifically reserved for illness and or injury, and to this point in time, it has never been done for illness. It's reserved for illness and injury, but it's never actually been done for illness. It has only been done for injury. So to call for an interim title would just show your lack of understanding of what is going on here. And by the way, to call for a fight against Volkanovski, the fight that you have right now that you deserve right now is Ilia. Now, Volk has been made a promise that his next fight is for a title. That can still be true. See, Diego could have followed the story here. He could have followed along what's going, and then he could have presented it. Precisely what I would have done. And all the pieces would happen, and they would be true. It's just a matter that Volk isn't going to fight right now. But now there is no competition for Volk because the only competition, the guy that should have had it, decided to sit in the second row, not the front row. Decided when Volk got up and walked towards the cage without a credential any stronger than he had, he did not follow him to the cage. And in the post-fight, when he's got people like me speaking up on his behalf, he's calling for a mythical belt that doesn't exist because it doesn't qualify to exist. Against the very guy who's already got the nod over him instead of the actual champion who 3 days ago he was back up to face. Right when I think a Sandhagen is behind us, we stumble upon a Diego Lopes.